So I know quite a few of you want to know how to grow a monstera in water, and so it's actually a very easy process. So all of this plant is a cutting. It's actually the top cutting of my big plant, which I had for a long time, but it just outgrew its allotted space, and so I cut the top down. It also did that thing that quite a few Monsteras do. If you don't train it up correctly from the start, it kind of grows out into this direction and this direction. And I didn't really have the plants secured on a nice kind of like strong pole into which it could grow and could grow up straight. And yeah, so I cut the plant off and I put it in this glass cylinder vase, and it's been in there ever since. And that's probably been quite a few months. I mean, you can see with the massive roots in the vase, yeah, it's been quite some time. So my care routine for this plant is that it does grow a nice bright light. This is how it managed to push out this leaf, which is actually quite big, but not the same size, obviously, as the other leaves. Um, and yeah, I think light is obviously extremely important for the leaf size of your monstera, whether you grow it like this or whether you grow it in soil. A plant in soil will obviously grow a lot better or a lot quicker than a plant grown like this, because the plant in soil is getting a lot of nutrients and you're fertilizing it. I'm not doing anything to this plant except changing out the water every week. So apart from that, it's not getting any additional fertilizer or nutrition. But I will say that these plants are very easy to grow in this way. I mean, Monsteras are probably one of the easiest plants to get to root in water. I mean, they like this, you know. And so keeping the plant in water is not really a challenge in any way. I know people that have Monsteras like as a center piece for a table or on like a shelf. It can make an absolutely beautiful display in that way, you know. So I can see the appeal of it. I would prefer though to move this plant into soil and then, you know, get it starting again on like a nice strong, you know, moss pole, perhaps with like a central like broomstick or something, because his plants can get big and they need something strong to climb onto, you know, almost like a tree trunk. So one thing to take into account when doing this is that you want to remove every piece of dead sheath or foliage or anything that's on the stem of your plant, because if any dead or decaying organic material goes into the water, it's going to take out all of the oxygen, firstly. Secondly, that would mean that it will kill off the roots and most probably, you know, lead to the roots dying. And it will also make the water smell really bad. And that's something to look out for with your propagations even, is if the water has a bit of a smell, you know that something is not right, and you either have to change out the water or inspect the roots to see if there's not anything that's decaying. I think that's probably one of the biggest things to look out for. I wouldn't fertilize this in this way, just because I don't think it's a good idea, because you have to put in the fertilizer and then quickly almost like take it out again because the plant can't stand with the fertilizer in the water like that. And then you also can't use the same kind of levels that you'll give a plant that's in soil. So it's just, to me, that sounds really complicated, not something I want to do at this time. The other thing, of course, is as this plant matures, it won't be able to grow in this pot for like a long time because it will at some point grow and flop over. The only reason why it's not flopping over at the moment is obviously that the way that the leaves and everything is kept pretty upright by the lip of the vase. Because if this was more out of the pot, it could mean that the plant is less stable. And you can also see the way that the roots have grown, and they've actually grown in that cylinder format. It's like a mat of roots, basically. The other thing I will say is, if you want to do this, it's just probably better to start off with a nice small plant that you can maybe, or a small cutting, or just something that's more manageable to have in a vase. This isn't really manageable, but it's doable. And if you want to do it, I can tell you now that you can do it, but there will be some challenges, as I mentioned previously. But don't be put off by that if you are prepared to engage with those challenges. And as far as lights and pests and all of that goes, I mean, it's exactly the same if the plant is grown in water or in soil. Like I said previously, I keep this plant pretty bright light because I want to have the big leaves with the big fenestrations. If the plant were in lower light, you'll probably see smaller leaves and less fenestrated leaves, you know, the smaller like cuts and holes. Pests on Monstera, I've never really had any pests on the Monstera, so I can't be sure, but I would probably want to say that scale could be like a brown scale, could be a culprit. Maybe spider mites, I'm not sure. Like I said, I've no experience when it comes to pests on a Monstera. I've also noticed that with Monsteras, humidity does not seem to be as big of an issue. I've never really seen, although in saying that, this plant does have crispy edges, but also remember this plant did grow outside on the patio, so it was exposed to, you know, to wind and like a lot of heat in the summer. So that could account for these brown leaf tips. So I change out the water of this plant about once a week. It just keeps it nice and fresh and replenishes the oxygen. Yeah, just really good for the roots to just like get rid of any of the old water. Some people also will take out the plant and then clean the whole vase. I don't always do that, but you can do that, and especially if it's in a position in your home where it's very prominent. This plant is not, it's kind of hidden away in my office, you know, so you can't really see the vase. But I mean, if this was in a more prominent position, like in an entranceway or somewhere, yeah, you would definitely want to keep this nice and clean. You can use like a dishwashing liquid to clean it out. Yeah, so I hope that you've enjoyed this video, this quick little tutorial on how to grow Monstera in water. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to see more videos like these. I will see you in the next video. Bye.